as an example, if you want to turn to Luke chapter 8, just one example, it says in verse 55, Luke 8:55, after he, raises the Jairus' daughter, says he took her by the hand and said, "Child, rise." And her spirit returned, and she got up immediately. And he gave orders for something to be given to her to eat. And her parents were amazed, but he instructed them to tell no one what had happened. So you see that, tell no one. Same thing happened also, by the way. It's like if you go backwards in Luke, just a couple pages, in Luke 5, in verse 14, with the leper. And in verse 13, Luke 5:13, it says, he stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, "I'm willing, be cleansed." And immediately the leprosy left him, and he ordered him to tell no one. We see this a lot of times. These are just a couple of examples in the book of Luke. But I was struck by them specifically because as I was reading through the book of Luke, there's a time when he tells the exact opposite, actually. In Luke chapter 8, after he heals the demoniac. It says, if you look with me at verse 39, Jesus commands him, "Return to your house and describe the great things that God has done for you." And to me, it was a little bit of a break with form. Often Jesus is saying, don't tell anybody, don't tell anybody. But then here with the demoniac, the man named Legion, for we are many, Jesus says, go home specifically and tell them. And I was wondering, Lord, why did you tell him to go home? And I think that there may be a little bit of a case of, Jesus doesn't want to be, I don't think that he came with the intention of stirring up a bunch of people to be interested in miracles of physical healing, the lepers and the people he raised from the dead. I think there's something to be said for the fact that he didn't want to be creating some reputation around, hey, this miracle worker, if your kid's sick, and he cared for people for sure. He was compassionate. But he had a passion for people's spiritual well-being. And I thought, perhaps, he delivered this man from a demon possession. It was a spiritual healing, not just a physical healing. And so maybe that's why. But then I remembered how even, many times, for example, when he spoke with the disciples, he said, who do you say I am? And they said, "Oh, you're the Christ." He said, "Don't tell anyone." And so again, you go, okay, what's up with why? He often says, don't tell. And as I meditated on this question of why did he tell the demoniac to go tell the people, what does it say here? Sorry, return to your house and describe the great things God has done for you. The Lord spoke to me about God's love for the lost. And I wanted just to mention something because I think it speaks to a temptation that I face in my life. And I wonder whether you do as well. But if you look back, it says, just look with me at verse 38. It says, the man from whom the demons had gone out was begging Jesus that he might accompany him. He was begging him. And this person who was begging Jesus, let me come with you. It says he sent him away saying, return to your house and describe the great things God has done for you. And I was struck, wow, this guy really wanted to be with Jesus. And Jesus turned him away. It blessed me to consider that the love that the Father and Jesus Christ had for this place. It's called the Gerasenes. I think it's how you say it. I don't know. It's in verse 26. It says they sailed to a country of the Gerasenes. And what's interesting is when they sailed there, as they went, just the verses that precede the story, it's the great storm. Jesus is asleep in the boat. The disciples say we're perishing, and he wakes up and he rebukes the sea. But the Lord clearly had a special purpose for these people of the Gerasenes. He endured a storm to get there, to see them. And what's amazing to me is it says, if you look at verse 35 of Luke 8, it says, the people of the country went to see what happened. They came to Jesus and they found Legion sitting down at the feet of Jesus. He's dressed. I was talking with the girls the other night. It's like, did you know Jesus interacted with naked people? This guy was naked. And he came and he's sitting at Jesus' feet, clothed in his right mind. It's an amazing sight, right? And it says they became frightened. In verse 36, those who had seen it reported it to them. Now the man who was demon possessed had been made well. And all the people of the country that Jesus had crossed the storm to visit, all the people of the country asked him to leave. because they were gripped with fear. And, you know, it really spoke to me as an aside. That's not the purpose of this sharing, but it really spoke to me that, by the way, just as an aside, when we ask Jesus to leave, you know what he says? Okay. If you want me to go, I will. And that's a sobering thing to me to see here, that Jesus really endured a lot to arrive at this country, had a passion for this country, and they wanted him to leave. And it says in verse 37, he got into a boat and returned. He said, okay, I came all the way here to show you my spiritual power, to put my glory on display. But if you want me to leave, I'll leave. But I was thinking it was an ugly scene. You know, those who had seen it, they reported how the man had been made well, and we know that, you know, the demons went into this herd of pigs, and the pigs went off the cliff. I mean, it's like, you know, it's probably a pretty foul scene, right? And their business was ruined, you know, and all we have to show for it, you know, if you're the people of the Gerasenes, all we have to show for it is this dude. Now he's just like sitting, you know, he's just sitting at Jesus' feet. And what spoke to me as I was meditating on this is, that's the moment the man begs to come with Jesus. You know what he's saying? All these people who want you to leave, don't leave me here. I don't want to be stuck among all these people who have no interest in you, Lord. And that's where I can relate to him. Because you know how I feel in the middle of my work? Lord, don't leave me here. Yeah, take me. Can we have a Bible study? You know, Peter said it's good for us to be here, right, on the Mount of Transfiguration. Let's build tabernacles. Let's stay here, right? And I can relate to the demoniac here. You know, I just want to leave this godforsaken work environment or coworker or whatever it is, right? And we've heard this phrase, when the bridegroom leaves, what does the bride do? Bride wants to leave, right? Well, Jesus is leaving. What's wrong with the demoniac wanting to leave? Jesus is leaving. And what this spoke to me was, we have to be violent with this monastic desire that we have to hole off away from the world, to be away from negative influences, to be insulated from the people who are so vile that when they see spiritual deliverance, they say, get away from me. We have to fight the tendency to say, I don't want to be around these people. Lord, take me with you. Don't you guys just like hang out and go delivering people all the time and like healing people? And that's what I want to do. I do not want to stay here in this country amongst a bunch of people who have no appreciation of you. And I can relate to the demoniac there. I feel that way many times. And what blessed me is Jesus, he wants to send me out. He wants me to go on the offensive, to describe what God has done, not barely hanging on by the skin of my teeth, so to speak, not desperately clinging to the side of the boat. Please don't leave me. You know, like we saw those guys, you know, in the airport, right? This is the wrong version of that, you know, we saw on Sunday. The Lord wants to send me out as a witness, as a light, as a testimony of his great power. And I can picture the man, you know, he's just been freed from the torments of demon possession. And he's thinking, as he sees all of his countrymen's reaction, all these people saying, please, what do they say? It says they're asking him to leave. I can picture that this guy where is it in verse 37, they're asking him to leave. And I can picture this man, he's just been delivered from the torment of demon possession. And you know what he's thinking? Out of the frying pan and into the fire. I was just tormented by demons. Lord, now you want me to be tormented by ungrateful, money-loving people? I'm done with torment. And you know what Jesus says? The one who is tormented by demons, I'll deliver. The one who's tormented by the sinful world around, I'm not going to deliver you. I want to send you with a mission. I want to send you with a light. His call is not a retreat from the world. I was blessed to think about that. Discipleship isn't a retreat. And what this man clearly missed was he had this impression of the 12 disciples. They were just on a weekend long, they were on a multi-year long Bible study journey. And I can have that desire too. I want to retreat. I want to be like Peter. Let's just stay here on the mountain for a little bit longer, Lord. Let's build these tabernacles. And what does the Lord do? He interrupts me in the middle of that thought. And he says, no, listen to Jesus. He wants to go back down the mountain. The first thing that Peter encountered was a demon-possessed person that the other disciples couldn't deal with, right? I mean, as an example there. And it's not God's desire for us to huddle away. And it's his desire to send us. It blessed me to see that. It challenged it really challenged, it made me wonder whether my desire to be free from this world is a righteous desire. I've always loved, I will say this in closing, as I've read this story, countless times. I've always admired the man who begged to go with Jesus. I've always admired him. And this week I found myself thinking, Jesus wasn't being rude. Jesus was, just like he said to the rich young ruler, one thing you lack. I feel he was saying to the demoniac, one thing you lack. I don't want you to stop loving these people. You've been delivered from demon possession. Now let me fill your heart with love. And that for you is discipleship. Just like Jesus said to Peter, when at the end of Peter's life, or at the end of John 21, Peter said, hey, what about that guy? And Jesus said, what is it to you what I want to do with him? You follow me. And the thing that's challenging here is, you can imagine the demoniac saying, hey, what about those guys? And you know what Jesus said? What does it matter if I want to take them with me? You follow me. Go back into that God-forsaken place filled with people who love money more than spiritual deliverance. Tell them the great things God has done. Let me deal with you as I want to deal with you. I feel that's something the Lord was speaking to me. And it really challenges a lot of my, ideas about discipleship. And I pray that I'd be delivered from all these wrong ideas, just like I believe the Lord. He looked at him with love. The Lord had such a great love for this brother. He didn't leave him. He just left him physically. But he sent him. He didn't leave him, he sent him. Maybe that's a good way to say it. He didn't leave him, he sent him. And we can likewise go as one sent. And we can go in the confidence that I'm not being punished. I'm not being left behind. All the other disciples get, no. I'm sent. I've got a mission. And it's enough. And I'm really curious if Jesus ever made it back. I don't know. If you know in your Bible study, by all means, tell me. I'd love to know. But I have a hope in my heart that they had a very sweet reunion. And that unlike the rich young ruler, it doesn't say here, by the way, that he went away sad. Maybe I'll close with that. Look at this. It really blesses me. Verse 39, end of it. So he went away, not sad like the rich young ruler, but it says, proclaiming throughout the whole city the great things Jesus had done for him. Wow. It really is a challenge to me. I don't want to go away sad. And the Lord says, no chariot of fire here. I go, can I have the Elijah plan? He goes, no. You're going to go away sad now? Blessed is the one who doesn't take offense at me. Go away proclaiming what I've done. Pray the Lord help me. Help us all have the right attitude towards discipleship.